What is up, you guys? Marty McFly coming at you, bringing you guys the merch. Sorry for the long delay. It's been a long time since we've done one of these videos, so let's just get right into it. We got a long road trip and a lot of merch to talk about. Let's go. What is up, you guys? Welcome back, and my sincerest apologies for the long delay in making these videos. You know what? I just had a long stretch. I did not have much left in the tank, did not want to put any energy into making videos because I know they were just going to come out as garbage, and I really only had enough mana left over to basically just focus on work, meal prep, the gym, and just taking care of my job. I have my boards coming up and about a million other things going on, and I was like, you know what, I'll keep the shorts up, I'll keep making the short videos and all that, because my long videos really weren't doing well on YouTube anyway. Just made me realize that maybe like people weren't enjoying these anymore, people weren't watching them, or you know, the powers that be were suppressing them. I really don't have a good enough answer for you. So when I saw that my last couple of videos just weren't doing well anymore, I just didn't see the need to do these anymore, especially if no one's watching them or enjoying them. I mean, I have a couple of friends that watch them and enjoy them, but I was doing them really for me. But then I saw at the same time, I was like, well, I'm putting all this energy into making these videos and time, and they're just not going anywhere. So I was like, you know what, maybe it's a good enough time to just focus on work, taking care of what I got to take care of, and then I'll come back to it and down the road. And that's exactly what I did. So I'm sure, as you saw in that video, we had a beautiful road trip. It spread out over a couple different weekends. We did a couple different short trips, mostly in the Florida area, and really just had a blast. Especially going back to Tampa to see one of my oldest friends, and you know, we do our semi-annual care package exchange when it's mostly just metal and merch and guitar picks and CDs, vinyl, whatever you can imagine. We hit up a bunch of record stores in a 24-hour period, notably in the Tampa Bay area. Then we went to a concert at this Christian church over in Brandon, Florida, where I got to see some bands that I've been dying to see for a long time, and of course some new bands as well, which I was not expecting. But to be able to go see like Bloodlines from Texas, and then getting to see some of these other new bands that I had never heard of previously, and some of these new bands really blew me away, especially with how talented they were. But I would say the one that pulled me in the most, the one I really wanted to see, was with Blood Come Cleansing. If you're not familiar with them, Christian deathcore band. I mean, going back to the MySpace era of deathcore music, you know, their most notable song is in like album Area, came out about 20 years ago with Golgotha. They just repressed it, and re-recorded everything. It sounds great. The OG I still think is my favorite. But to see these guys come back 20 years later and just destroy the place, everybody knew what to expect when With Blood Comes Cleansing came on, and they just crushed everyone's souls. But another band I was really excited to go see was this band called Heal the Hurt. It's this Christian metalcore band. There are bits and pieces of a couple other Christian acts that came out in the past, and they just came out with their first EP. However, I mean, it really is a full-length album when you think about the length of it. And I was so excited to see these guys. The first time I heard them, I was flying out of Texas last year, and I was listening to some of like the previous Christian hardcore acts. I was listening to like Sleeping Giant, and then, you know, Sleeping Giant broke up, and then parts of Sleeping Giant went off to do their own separate projects. And then, of course, the guys from Sleeping Giant became Holy Name. Holy Name, been obsessed with them since their first release. Well, that got me into this other side of like Christian, like metalcore bands that are a little bit newer, and the most recent one I could think of was this band Heal the Hurt, and they really they blew me away. Unfortunately, their lead singer got kind of sick, so he even had mentioned, he's like, I'm having a hard time hitting some of these notes because I'm just not feeling well, but they still came out and they still sounded incredible. So I got to do that. I got to go see the Acacia Strain for the 100th time, and getting to see the Acacia Strain headline like they properly deserved. They really shut down the place over in Fort Lauderdale at Culture Room. Culture Room is a great venue. You know, I think what I like about it is it preaches safety. No one's like smoking cigarettes in there. Occasionally some people smoke weed and it stinks up the place, but most people are vaping now anyways, I guess. But I really liked Culture Room. It was nice and cold in there. And then, of course, when Acacia Strain came on, it wasn't cold anymore. There was 4 million people gouged in a tiny room. But I mean, what a great venue. It reminds me a lot of like what the old Orpheum used to be like. The new Orpheum's fine. It's good. They got the outdoor venue, which is great, but I hate parking at the new Orpheum. It's such a pain. If you don't get there early enough, you got to park a mile down the road and either Uber, you got to take a walk through the freaking not greatest part of Tampa, especially where all the prostitutes were walking around and stuff. So I usually park at Sound Exchange, the record store, and you got to walk down, or you Uber down. But I really like what Culture Room did. They really preaching safety. Everybody was very together. If anybody fell in the pit, they picked each other back up. So I really Had a great time at that show. And then before that, I went to go see Dave Matthews Band. A little bit different, but I've been listening to Dave Matthews Band for as long as I can remember. And what I like about Dave Matthews Band is they really don't play their radio songs live. Now, however, on this tour, I noticed one Tampa date and a couple dates before that, they were playing a lot of radio hits. But whenever I've seen them, they never play radio hits. They always play there's a couple songs they always play now, and Dave gets a little preachy, political. He does his thing. This one, I was like, all right, I actually can't fight you on this one because I think we all pretty much agree with the things that you're agreeing with. But it's Dave. He gets a little political sometimes. But I would say I love going to see Dave Matthews Band. Each song they play, even though it's like a 3-minute song, they might play that song for 10 minutes and do these crazy jazz combo, heavy metal stuff. There's a couple songs where they play a little bit of double bass and they get really heavy and energetic. And, they do this up-tempo thing, and then they start doing, certain songs will just build on each other. Like when he did American Baby, the song ended up being 9 minutes long with this huge build-up where things just get louder and heavier and darker. And I was like, this is basically a heavy metal show. And that's why I love Dave Matthews concerts, and not a lot of people talk about it. They have, their little, feel-good songs, and everyone's, jamming out and dancing. But then I love when Dave Matthews Band comes out and does these really dark, heavy-hitting, bombastic, loud, and up-tempo, and the songs just get louder and louder and louder, these huge build-ups with a huge climax at the end. I love when they do that stuff. And the one thing I've always wanted to see them do was them play Halloween. And they played in Tampa, they played Halloween, but I was not lucky enough to see that this time. So one day we'll get there. Anyway, enough jabbering my jaws. Let's talk about some merch. CDs, Heal the Hurt. Very, very lucky I got to have this signed by some of the guys. This is what I'm talking about, man. When I started listening to Sleeping Giant and then Holy Name came on, these guys actually did a song with Holy Name. These guys are incredible. I think these are going to be the next rising force in metalcore, not just Christian metalcore, but metalcore in general. These guys are going to be the rising force in the next era of heavy music. Really incredible show. Everything on here is good. I really like the song Ruin because the opening scream to Ruin is just this big, dark, guttural, my voice is shot so I can't scream right now, but that Withering, Suffocating on Sorrow, Forgiving the Sickness is amazing. This whole EP, it's basically a full length, is incredible. Now this one, I didn't think I was going to be able to find a hard copy of this just because it's not really easy to find, and the copies that are around are very expensive. They did a Record Store Day edition of the vinyl, but this is Halloween. This is Detroit heavy metal. I may have talked about this before, but this is just a blast from cover to cover. But this is Don't Meddle with Evil. Think like Savatage and Dokken era heavy metal music, just with a Halloween undertone. Lots of intros, midsections, a lot of spooky stuff. And just, wow, so glad I managed to get a hard copy of that. Now, if you're not new to this channel, I love these guys. This is Sweden, Gothenburg's own Evergrey. Thomas England, total genius. He's been writing songs to this band for ages. And just wow. Another incredible album. I would say the best part about this new record by them, of course, Architects of the New Weave just came out. One of the best parts about this new album, it's still Evergrey. It's still this modern era Evergrey sound. Thomas England, his vocal range is incredible. Lead guitars, keyboards, everything is just done to perfection. There's so many heavy moments here too. There's a little bit darker, heavy elements to it, but I would say the biggest difference between this and their very last album, Theories of Emptiness, this is a happier undertone. Now, their last album was a lot about heartache, and I know Thomas England was going through his divorce with Karina England, I believe, and I think he's remarried now with the new girl. And bummer, because Karina England was a phenomenal singer. She sang on quite a bit of Evergrey's discography. And, his new wife, he seems really happy, and I think it's implemented in this album. This album's got some dark, melancholic, melodic moments, some really dark, heavy stuff that I love. But, wow, there's just some serious songs on here. I was like, wow, it seems happier. It's dark and melodic and melancholic heavy metal that feels happier. And I would say the quintessential moment of that is the song Leaving the Emptiness. You could feel that he's leaving the last album, Theories of Emptiness, and going into this new light. And I really felt it on this album. One of the best things, God, everything on here is amazing. I love the script. I would say the script is probably my favorite song on here. Although I say that and I think about
Longing and A Burning Flame, which are all incredible, and Heaven, and everything on here is just wonderful. But A Burning Flame with Mikhail Stan from, you know who it's from, Dark Tranquillity, and the OG In Flames lead singer. What I also love about this is the bonus stuff. So we got bonus tracks, we got Heights, we got Oxygen, and Album Mix, One Heart, which One Heart's one of their bigger songs from their previous album. But then there's all these like demo versions, instrumentals. This is a phenomenal record. If you haven't checked out Evergrey's new hits, please do it. This is not one I was expecting to see ever, and I had to secure it as soon as I got it. If you're not familiar, this is Catalepsy with Bleed. The reason I thought about this band is because growing up, we had a little venue with no air conditioning, and eventually they put air conditioning before it closed down, but it was called the JC's, and at the JC's, we always used to have bands come through, and our most notable ones, you know, we had Dr. Acula, we had Evergreen Terrace, we had a lot of bands coming through, but Catalepsy came in there, and Catalepsy would just destroy the place. And when I saw that they had a CD online, I picked it up. Everything on here is good. Goliath and Medusa are great songs. The whole album kind of sounds like those songs. They're all great. They're all heavy. But this just took me back to my childhood because, like, dang. I mean, we had Everett, who went to our high school, Bravo Armada, and then we had Catalepsy would come play through every once in a while with, like, Dr. Acula. Like I said, there was Beating a Dead Horse. There's a bunch of wild bands that come through, but these guys crushed it. Now, controversial album. I enjoy it. I like this album. There's some weird songs on here. I like that it's a longer album too. You get plenty of tracks, but I always wanted the. I'm not always needing of the OB strip, but this case I wanted it for one specific reason, and I like that the whole OB strip's in Japanese. That's why. 15th track, All Out Life. Slipknot comes out with one of their best songs ever made. Cool, wicked music video, and it's not available on the regular release of this album. It's only available on the 7-inch, which I regret not buying, and of course it's available on the Japanese press. All Out Life is, I think, one of Slipknot's best songs, and a lot of people will admit to it. And right now, this is the only way I was able to find it, so I just wanted to have a copy of it. I already have it on CD, I already have it on vinyl, but I needed All Out Life. So of course, I spent money on it and bought it. Cool, wicked thing I got from the concert with Blood Comes Cleansing, guitar pick. Love it, just cool, needed to have it. It's going in the collection. Speaking of Christian death metal, one of my favorite bands of all time, Living Sacrifice. Even if you don't like Christian music, this band has influenced an infinite amount of bands in their very long tenure. I had the honor of seeing them play. They opened up for Demon Hunter, and they played just after O Sleeper, House of Blues Orlando, back in 2008, I think. It's the very last time I had an opportunity to see those bands. Very lucky I got to see O Sleeper again, but Demon Hunter, I've missed them every time. They don't tour very much. They canceled their one in Tampa because of the hurricane, but Christian death metal, can't beat it. Like I said, these guys have influenced an infinite amount of bands in their tenure, and they are deserving of that praise. Blind Witness, wasn't too familiar with these guys, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I really wish I had heard about them sooner, but you know how old this is? It still has myspace.com/blindwitness on it. If you like anything that came off of like I Killed the Prom Queen, if you like anything that came off of the Trustkill era, if you like Ferret Records bands, I think these guys hit the nail on the head. So these guys are pretty good. Like I said, if you like anything from the Ferret, if you like Face Down Records, if you like anything that came off of Trustkill, if you like I Killed the Prom Queen, if you like Confession, which is, of course, the band that came out after I Killed the Prom Queen, I think this is a good place to start, and it's just good old heavy stuff. Next, now this band, the Love 'Em or Hate 'Em. I was shocked I didn't have a CD copy of this, but glad I got to have it. For today's last album, Christian Metalcore, their lead singer just came out with another track as a guest vocalist, and it freaking smashes everything. Glad to see he's still making music and still can scream like the banshee he is. But what I think I like about this has got the 2 bonus tracks on it. Like I said, For Today, Wake. It was a good salute album to them. I think it was a little bit heavier. It had a lot of good melodic moments, but I think it was just a good banging heavy hardcore album. And I think it was a genius way for this band to go out, to just be like, we're going to finish as heavy as humanly possible. We're going to go back to like the Ecclesia days where everything was just monstrous, and that's exactly what it sounded like. Now, one of my favorite bands of all time, top 5 favorite bands, undeniable, incredible, melodic, heavy, talented. I've had the opportunity to meet their lead singer many times. I text him once in a while, which is just kind of cool. Threat Signal from Canada, one of my favorite bands of all time. I'm very, very grateful. John Howard is a monster. He played all the instruments. Of course, he wrote the album, sung the album, screamed on the album. And this is their newest record. This is the special edition. Comes with a guitar pick, comes with stickers, comes with a lot of stuff. Of course, here's the sticker. Here's the CD, liner notes, all the good stuff. I got the pick in my guitar pick kit now. The case that I displayed. Revelations, man. I think it's one of the best things they've ever done. If you want, I loved the album that came out before this. I think it's so proggy and just well made, but I think I love this because there's just no ounce of time wasted. Nothing feels repeated. It just feels like a compilation of everything they've ever done onto one record, and I'm just so proud of John for doing what he did. I know it's hard to make music, it's expensive, and this is a long album in the making. It came off of Agonia Records. I got all my stuff off of Indie Merch because right now Agonia is not shipping to the United States. So if you're on indiemerch.com, you can get all of this new record, but I think this is the best thing they've ever written since their second album. I would say this is a really beautiful and wonderful mixture of their first two records. Under Reprisal, obviously, banger from the minute it came out. I think is their best album. But this is right up there next to Under Reprisal, of course, their second album. I think it's a good compilation. Amazing record. Please check it out if you haven't. Give those guys some support. They deserve your love. We've already talked about this one to death, but I just wanted to show it again. Lamb of God into Oblivion. I think it's one of the best albums they've written. I think it's better than Sturm und Drang. I think this is the best record since Resolution. Now this one, I did not know they had a CD copy for it. I have never seen this in the wild, and I think this is why I love going to record stores, because you find stuff you didn't even know existed. This is really hard to get. This came off of Spine Farm Records, and I remember the band saying they weren't doing any hard copies of this album. If they did, it was just limited at shows. My Ticket Home, man. Unreal. This is I've loved everything this band has done, even though the stuff that they recorded came with Shomo. But I think the very next record, especially with Ayahuasca, Kick Rocks, and everything that they did on that album is just amazing. It's probably my favorite My Ticket Home record, is the one that came out right before this. I have the vinyl copy of that, and I really love that album, but this is so different. This is My Ticket Home, Columbus, Ohio, of course. They're really channeling in their inner Nirvana, and that's the only way I can explain it. This is grunge metal mixed with My Ticket Home, and a little bit of like modernism, and I think it's a genius album. My favorite song on here is got to be Thrush. I know it's the first track on here. It's either Thrush or Flypaper. I'd say those are my two favorite tracks on the whole album. And the fact that I found it in the wild when I didn't even know there was hard copies of this around just made me so freaking happy. So thank you to Mojo's Records for having this album on hand and selling it for, dude, $8. It's a steal. So Thrush and Flypaper, phenomenal songs. Love this band, love this album. Can't say enough. And then the band that stole the show at that concert in Brandon, Florida, of course, Bloodlines, Texas. It's only a 5-song EP. It's awesome. It's just killer. Got the whole band aside. Super nice guys. They actually pulled the rest of the bandmates. One of them was like eating, the other was in the bathroom, and I was like, hey, would you want to sign it for me? He's like, hold on, let me get the rest of the guys. They all need to come in and sign this. So all of them did. And they sounded incredible. They blew the place up. Wonderful show, wonderful guys, good people. They're welcome in Florida anytime. Last CD, and then vinyl. This was another band that really shocked me. This is a full-length album. Was not even aware of who these guys were because they played along with Bloodlines and, the rest of the bands that played that night. And I was shocked because I was like, how have I never heard these guys yet? And they remind me so much of like For the Fallen Dreams if they were Christian. And that's the only way I can explain it. This is What We Seek. Christian band, metalcore, maybe a little bit of early hardcore. This reminds me of the Heavy Hearts era of For the Fallen Dreams before they went and did whatever they did with A Rising Empire. I love Chad. He's Chad Rulig. He's amazing. Great guy. Super kind and nice. He's always been nice to me anytime I've met him. But A Rising Empire wants all their bands to sound exactly the same, and I think it's unfortunate that For the Fallen Dreams signed with them. They probably got bigger because of it, but I would say their new album is their weakest. That might be controversial because they definitely had one weak album with their previous lead singer before Chad got back in the band. But I would say like I don't really like what A Rising Empire is doing right now because all their bands are doing the rapcore, new age metalcore thing, and they all sound exactly the same. It's kind of like what freaking Sharp Tone is doing, where every band sounds exactly the same. I'm really glad August Burns Red's left them when they did, because August Burns Red is just their own species of band, and I didn't want to see them fall into the Sharp Tone arena. But what we seek, incredible Christian metalcore. Got their lead singer, really nice guy, signed the album for me. So let's get on to vinyl. I just realized this album is going to be about way too long if I continue talking about vinyl. So here's what we're going to do. So let's talk about the first vinyl record, and I'm going to leave you guys with a little surprise after that. This is a band I've been listening to, Miami, Florida natives. Everyone knows them in the metalcore scene. These are one of the bands that is one of the premier metalcore bands that's responsible for the music we have today, and that's the newest offering from Poison the Well. I was so bummed when these guys broke up. I didn't really care for their very last album as much as I cared for their other stuff. Obviously, like Tear from the Red is untouchable. Opposite of December, untouchable. I really love everything this band has done. Their last album was good. It just wasn't my favorite, and it was kind of a weird way to finish off, but I was really bummed when they broke up. But they're back together. This is their newest album, Peace in Place. This sounds like it just came off the opposite of December yesterday, or Tear from the Red yesterday. They really they put it all on the record. They left no feeling that you're like, oh, I wish they did more. No, they put it all in there, and it's such a complete album, which I can't say for every band these days. But it is. It's just a complete album, and I love every track on here. When they first announced their first single, I said, oh my god, my boys are back together again. Of course, they played all over Florida. I missed every single one of them because I was out of the state. Just happened to be out of the state. I was in Chicago, and I missed them, and I'm very, very sad I missed them, but I hopefully will get an opportunity to see them again soon. But Poison the Well, Peace in Place, incredible, incredible record. Love what they've done. Now, I promised you guys more vinyl, but this video is going to be about 6 years too long, so stay tuned. Come hang out with us. Come hang out with Marty McFly in the Headbangers Ballroom. I got another video coming up for you guys soon. We're going to talk about the rest of the vinyl. Take care of you guys. Peace.